cultures around the world are very different. There's differences in food and music, in the culture or the habitual things that they do. Um, and I actually had the opportunity to live in Europe over the past 2 years, and it was awesome. And today I just want to take a look at some of the differences in between the cultures of where I lived. I only spent a little bit of time in Western Europe. I spent some time in Spain, but the majority of my time was spent in the countries of Ukraine and Moldova over the course of the 2 years. And there's lots of minor differences and cool things about it. I mean, Ukraine, everyone speaks Russian there, almost everyone, but the national language is actually Ukrainian, which is similar to Russian. They use almost the same alphabet. Some things sound different, but it is definitely a different language because it uses different words. More similar to Polish. It's kind of like a mixture in between Polish and Russian. I myself, I speak Russian. I learned Russian when I lived over there in Ukraine and Moldova. I can understand Ukrainian okay, not perfectly, but I don't speak Ukrainian very well, which is unfortunate. Moldova is also a pretty cool country. They have more of their national language, which is actually Romanian. Some people refer it to as Moldovan. Moldovan is just kind of a made-up language, though. The history behind it is when the Russians or the Soviet Union, I don't remember, way back when, came and took part of the land. They redid the language. They're like, okay, you no longer speak Romanian, but you speak Moldovan. And they gave the language a Slavic alphabet. But today, modern Moldovan is basically 100% Romanian. Maybe it's just an accent now from Romania itself. But they also speak Russian there. However, Romanian is the national language. Food is actually pretty cool too. If you go to Russia, they have something called plemeni, or plemeni. I don't think I'm saying that right now, but plemeni. Oh, there we go. I was saying it too quick. But it's basically a Russian dumpling it's got potatoes. It could have cabbage. It could have meat inside. But if you go to Ukraine, you'll actually have a pretty hard time finding plemeni. But that is because they actually have something. It's got a different name, but it's a little different too. It's called varенiki, which is more of a Ukrainian type of style of dumpling. The dumplings are a lot bigger usually than the plemeni in Russia. And then in Moldova, it's less common to have both of those foods because there's a heavy Romanian influence, but they still are there. Borscht or borsch, however you would pronounce it, depending on the language you're speaking, because in Ukrainian it's more of a sh at the end, and then in Russian it's just a sh. Borscht, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a beet soup. And you might think of that like, ew, gross, a beet soup, but it's actually really, really good. You put some sour cream in it. It's got potatoes and cabbage sometimes. It's got carrots, and you can add other stuff in it too. And it's a traditional soup that's among all three of those countries, which is awesome. Other foods, mamaliga, that's a Moldovan food. It's basically cornmeal is the main ingredient. It tastes really good. You can eat it with, I've got all the words coming in Russian now. It's smetana, which would be, sour cream. I already said that, but now my brain's now working in the other language. And then you can have it with meat and other different things. You've got placente, which is more of kind of a Moldovan bread filled with either cheese or cabbage or meat. So kind of those three main ingredients that are found in those other foods, which is also really good. You've got a traditional salad in between the three countries, olivier. But basically there's other things. There's like blini, which is like pancakes. You got just a bunch of different foods among the countries, which is pretty cool and pretty awesome to try different things. At least between Ukraine and Moldova, it was interesting to see the difference in like towards one another. In Ukraine, people are more kept to themselves. But if you get to know someone, then they're your best friend, and it's like way cool. Like sometimes you can't even get them to stop talking once you get to know them. But on the first approach, it's kind of like, wait, why are you talking to me? Do I know you? They're suspicious a little bit. On public transportation, it's pretty dead silent. In Moldova, it's a lot more Western Europeanized. People would actually talk on like the trolleybusi or like the trolley buses. They would talk on any basically public transportation, which was interesting. And they were a lot more friendly and outgoing and interested in like who you were, what you were doing, and why you were there. But you know, both places are great. I love Ukraine. I love Moldova. I'm sad that I'm no longer there. But these are just kind of some of the basic things that I noticed while I was living there. And maybe you found it interesting. Hopefully it helped out, but that's about it. I hope to continue making some of these videos to kind of talk about my experience going there. Actually, in the future, I'm planning on going on internships to Europe. There's 4 major places I could land. The first being Berlin, the second being Warsaw in Poland, the third being Moscow in Russia, and the fourth one being Riga in Latvia. So at least one of those 4 places I want to go and try to learn another language, because I think languages are cool and learning the culture is also pretty cool. So that's probably about it. I hope this was good, and that's all I've got.